Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Episode 3 of my summer cut series. We are still here in Lake Placid. Sadly, we are leaving today, but it's been such a good trip, and I hope you guys enjoyed that last video kind of showing you how you can still navigate traveling but staying on track. For today's video slash vlog, I'm going to take you through how to execute the plan for your goals. I shared with you guys in episode 1 my goals for cutting and what I hope to achieve. So today's video is going to be showing you how I go about executing the plan to actually achieve the goals. You can always have the goal, but there has to be the steps in place to actually reach the goal. That's usually the missing piece for many of us. We wish to do this, we wish to do that, but we don't change our behaviors that align with the end goal. So today I'm going to show you all of that, which starts with Jason and I heading to the gym at the hotel, making it work, finding a way to still get in a workout. I knew realistically for myself, traveling home 3 to 4 hours in a vehicle, having a lift tonight when I got home. Number 1, I just wasn't going to want to do it, so setting myself up for failure. Number 2, it probably wouldn't be a great lift after being in the car. I'm going to be fatigued, my body's going to be hurting. We hiked yesterday, so no excuses. We went to the gym, we had fun with it, we made use of the equipment.
We just set up this cool bench press thing.
Well, Jason's idea. I'm not innovative.
Yeah, they have like this cool bar
that was there and got in a pretty solid lift, if I do say so myself. So find other opportunities to still get things done and set yourself up for success. So for me, part of that is making sure I'm getting in my lifts, and I will share with you a little bit later in the video exactly what I'm doing for lifts, cardio, and macros.
What's ensemble from?
I feel very much like ski lodge.
Yes. Pretty, yeah.
So actually, I get asked about these joggers all the time. These are the Misbehave joggers from Buff Bunny Collection, and I feel like they're a bit like
dressy, dress up.
No. I want to say like people don't promote them enough. Like they're not talked about enough. Like they don't.
I think they look really cool.
They don't get the hype up they deserve. So they're like a jogger that you can also dress up. So you can easily like add a heel to these and wear them to work if you want. I kind of like wear these types of pants to work all the time anyways.
I just want to...
It's very therapeutic. Yeah, this is the permafrost pullover. These actually just got restocked as well in the white and the black. But I love these joggers. They've got really cool details here on the pockets on the butt, and then a little mesh panel goes along downside the calf. But interestingly enough, I had like a few people reach out to me this week asking my thoughts on them. They're very high quality, high-waisted pant with a pocket. They're so super comfortable, so perfect for a day like today. We're gonna go sightseeing, see a bit of Lake Placid before we're in the car for several hours, so I just want it to be comfortable but still cute, you know what I'm saying? Before we get into today's video, I want to make sure I mention to everyone that I will be having an upcoming live stream here on the YouTube as a check-in for all of us, myself included, to see how we're doing, where our progress is at, and talk about any of our struggles. I want to help you guys troubleshoot, give you ideas, basically be your personal dietitian, utilize me to help you along. I know many of you maybe can't afford a coach, so that's part of what I want to include in this series, is keeping it interactive and collaborative. So stay tuned for the date. It'll be this upcoming week, but follow me over on Instagram, Kara Corey Fit Life. I'll be sure to mention there in my stories ahead of time the date and time. That way you guys can join me and we can talk about how we're doing, what our struggles, frustrations are, what our wins are as well, and keep each other accountable and keep each other going. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's actually the next day, you guys. Lake Placid ended up being a washout yesterday. It rained, so Jason and I weren't really up to walking around in the rain. We stopped at a cute little grocery store, grabbed some things, headed home. So it's actually Memorial Day today. So thank you for all of you that have served our country for us. Anyways, getting my day started. I've already worked out and I'm going to have my first meal. And with executing my personal goals, one of the things I wanted to point out to you guys is oftentimes I hear people say, I'm gonna meet my macros, or yep, I'll meet my macros better next week. I included. I kind of set out to do the same. In effort to lose weight, we have to have some consistency there. And it can't just be as simple as saying, meet your macros. How are you gonna go about implementing that? What are you gonna do differently to be more consistent? You have to really think about what change is required on your own part. I'm someone who, if I'm not purposeful in really planning it out with my protein, it can be 9 o'clock at night and I'll be like, dang, I got 70 grams of protein to eat. Not ideal, definitely not ideal. And I find too, if I really am good about how I pair my protein with each of my meals, I'm more satisfied, it curbs my hunger, it kind of helps keep me feeling more satisfied. So it really does go a long way to think about what you're doing, how you're preparing your meals, how you're planning things together if you are planning, to be more purposeful. So that's one of my strategies to execute my goals, is to ensure that I'm getting at least around 20 to 30 grams of protein with each of my meals or snacks. So something that I've been including more in my diet has been plant protein. I've been using this Bellway plant protein that's also super fiber. So it has psyllium husk in there as well, which is another one of my goals actually. So one of my other goals is ensuring that I'm getting 20 to 25 grams of fiber on the daily, which in reviewing this past week, I had probably 3 days out of the week that I was less than 15 grams of fiber. Yikes. That makes a huge difference for me in my digestion, my regularity, how full I'm feeling, all of the above. So for me, this is kind of perfect because it incorporates two of my goals, getting in my fiber, getting in my protein as well. Bellway has their plant protein in both a chocolate and a vanilla. I've been using both for a little bit now. I really enjoy them. I'm gonna make one up right now so I can also show you guys the consistency on that. But it is 120 calories in a serving, 2 grams of fat in the vanilla, 2.5 in the chocolate, about 5 grams of carbohydrate because it's coming from the dietary fiber, that psyllium husk that's added in there, and 20 grams of protein, and also quite nice mineral profile there as well. Very natural ingredients. It is sweetened with monk fruit extract, which sometimes I don't like it if there's too much in there, but this, there isn't at all. It's like a really nice light flavor, which is why I like these proteins. I do want to thank Bellway for sponsoring this portion of the video. I really do enjoy everything I've used from them so far. If you guys want to try them out, Cara20 will get you 20% off your first order. I have worked with them in the past using their psyllium husk. They have a bunch of fun flavors if you're just more interested in the psyllium husk, but for me personally, this kind of meets the best of both worlds with trying to help execute some of my goals here. I want to show you guys too the texture on this, because a lot of plant proteins end up being very like gritty and kind of like not so tasty. This one comes out super duper smooth, doesn't require a ton of aggressive shaking. I only mixed it with water. It's good with milk as well. I've also used it mixed in a smoothie. I've also used the chocolate in particular for my brownie bowl recipe, which turned out really good. So the flavor on this is just like a light chocolatey, it's not overpowering, super smooth tasting. I'd say the consistency is a little bit different because the psyllium husk, it almost thickens it a little bit more. It's like a thicker, smoother flavor. You do need to use more water with this because of the psyllium husk, and plant proteins in general are thicker. So I usually use about 12 to 14 ounces of liquid to kind of get that perfect consistency. I enjoy this mostly. I've been using it for either first thing in the morning or at nighttime because I find it really does help curb my appetite, keep me feeling fuller longer, and it also helps with my digestion because the days that I've used this were the days this past week that I actually met my fiber goals. So it's really interesting how that works out when you start to pay attention to some of those different areas of your diet beyond just like, did I eat good today? No, take a look at your meal choices, what you were meeting, macros and micros, and really how you felt at the end of the day. And some of those other benefits too. Did you feel energized? Did you feel full? Did you take a poop? Like, all these things matter, you guys. So start paying attention to that as well. But I'm really thankful to be utilizing these because I know for sure it's gonna help me meet my protein goals, especially if it is the end of the day and I'm tired and I just don't feel like eating meat. I can have a scoop or a scoop and a half of this to really get in a good 20 to 30 grams of protein. So starting my day out with that to help meet them protein and fiber goals. Friends, we are at the point of the video where I'm finally going to share with you what my current macros are. These are my starting macros. And before I get right into that, I do want to mention I am working with Coach Brian Devins to assist me through this cut, and I feel like talking about macros is so taboo or something nowadays. You see a lot of fitness influencers who don't share their macros because I feel like this is an obvious thing, right? That what works for me won't work for you. We're all individuals requiring different things to either maintain at or even to lose weight at. So I'm sharing this information with you guys for a couple of reasons. Not for you guys to compare what I'm doing and go out there and do it to replicate what I'm doing. I'm sharing this with you to give you guys transparency here on the internet, which I feel like in fitness is hard to find. I'm being very transparent with you guys, as I previously did during preps, to share with you all the ins and outs of what it's going to take for me to see results. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same for you, and I think you guys understand that. I also disclose everything for purposes of my own accountability. There's something to be said for saying this is what I'm doing, and to declare it on the internet, to declare it on social media, I feel like just makes it that much more official. And you guys might find that as well. For those of you that are struggling to really commit to your own goals, whether it be a cut or something else, declare that stuff. Declare it to the world, declare it to your coworkers, your loved ones, your family. And that way, it's official. You will be held accountable by yourself, maybe by others. So for my starting macros, Brian functions in a way that I similarly do with my clients. He's starting me more so at like, let's find your maintenance spot. Let's see where you need to be right now to kind of get consistent and go from there. The goal is to be able to see results at as many macros as possible. It's not about eating as little as possible. So we got to get out of that mindset. So for me, I'm starting out at 135 grams of protein, 170 grams of carbohydrates, and 50 grams of fat, which ends up being roughly a little under about 1,700 calories or so, give or take. For me, that's a great starting spot. I believe he started me there because I, mentioned to him that that's, for me, roughly where I personally maintain. So that's a good spot for me to start out at a cut, because I need to first focus on consistency. I need to first focus on locking down those macro numbers and getting some consistency with my daily protein, my fiber, carbs, all that kind of stuff. So there's no need to jump into these drastic cuts. If you guys are entering in your cut as well, there's no need to just try to eat as little as possible. No, don't do that. Try to get consistent. Try to see where your body best maintains, and then you make those modifications. For me, tracking my macros and figuring out how to best meet those macros, something that I did that I implore you to do as well, is just sit down, grab a notebook, and write out a list. For me, I like to separate it by protein, carbs, and fats, and just kind of plan out and sit down and say, what do I like to eat? And then go from there with that list, either creating a grocery list for yourself, creating some meals to pair together. It honestly dumbs it down and makes it very easy, because I see so many people struggle with, what do I eat? How do I meet these macros? You have to take the time to play with it a bit. So create your list of what you like, what you enjoy, and then go into MyFitnessPal if you're tracking and start making some meal combinations. See what gets you as close as you can to the numbers. So that's something that's been very helpful for me. I'm also implementing using a meal service as well right now to see how that helps me out with being more prepared and meeting my macros. So along with meeting my macros, let's talk about workouts. For me, I'm doing 5 lifts a week. That's a perfect amount for me. I would say I was probably doing about 4 on my own, but 5 I always feel the best. I'm doing 2 lower body days and 3 upper body days. One thing for me that I've made a goal to kind of push myself back out of my comfort zone is getting back into the gym, quite honestly. I honestly was only going to the gym probably 1, maybe 2 days a week before, and I'm aiming to get 4 out of my 5 lifts done in the gym. Reason being, for me personally, I feel like that is where I work the hardest. It's the easiest for me in terms of what's accessible to get my workouts done. And I feed off that environment. I thrive off it. I do better in there. I just feel like I focus on my intensity a bit more, which is another goal of this program, is just improving my intensity. And I can tell you right now, week 1 already occurring, we're 1 week down. After doing 1 week of this program, I feel like Brian is trying to kill me slightly, but it's also a slap in the face that girl was not working hard enough. I was not challenging myself or pushing myself to what I know I'm capable of. So I have some work to do to kind of get back to that baseline. And I'm just so driven right now to work that much harder in the gym. Let's talk cardio. For me, cardio right now, we're doing 3 sessions a week, and that's going to be no set minutes, but burning 250 calories. And let me explain why I believe Brian does it this way. Because if he was just to say to me, do 3 sessions a week for 30 minutes, that's going to be extremely variable based on me and the intensity that I put in. So 30 minutes could be me going balls to the wall one day, or it could be me kind of being like, man, I'm just going to go for a slow paced walk because that's what I feel like. Giving a calorie range for the cardio requires kind of a consistency with your intensity. I'm going until I burn that amount of calories. So I hope that makes sense. It gives more consistency for him as a coach to assess how the cardio sessions are going versus me just doing it based on minutes and the calorie output. That output from the sessions is going to vary. So doing more moderate state, I'm either using my Peloton down in the basement, or I'm going to be getting in a run, maybe using the stepper too now that the mask mandate is lifted in New York State. So those are kind of my few options to get the cardio done. With that being said, I'm planning on implementing my cardio in the beginning of the week, getting those 3 sessions done. Reason being is it just sets me up for better success. The further the week goes on, the more things come up, life gets busy, we get tired, excuses, right? So if I can just get it done at the beginning of the week, it kind of gets that done, checks those boxes, feels good when you check the boxes, and sets me up to just focus more on my other exercise of just daily activity, right? That neat output. So just kind of focusing on daily steps and things like that. Other things I'm going to be focusing on in this cut are sleep, monitoring my sleep levels. I'm aiming for 7 to 9 hours a night and really looking at the weekly average. Also monitoring my stress levels and my self-care in terms of taking the time to focus on proper recovery, whether it be stretching, taking baths, foam rolling, doing things like cryo, really incorporating that as well. Self-care, rest, and recovery is just as important during this process, and I've seen that with previous cuts. If I'm not focusing on any of that, then the progress will be that much slower. So it's important for me to sprinkle that in and make it priority each week as things go on. Each week I am going to be checking in with Brian, which is kind of what I love about hiring a coach. Number one, when I pay money to do something, I'm going to put more effort into it versus either someone giving me a free handout or me try to do it on my own. No, most of us, I could be alone in this, but I think most of us, when we pay to do something, we're gonna put more into it because we want to get our money's worth, right? We don't want to waste our money or our time. So having Brian keep me accountable each week, I'm sending him check-ins, I'm taking weekly progress photos, I'm actually tracking all of my workouts. I forgot to mention this. All of my lifts are going to be tracked in terms of reps and sets, seeing how I'm progressing week after week, if I'm pushing harder to really gauge my intensity and if there's any improvement. I'm also going to be sharing with him my macros, my daily weigh-ins, all the things we just discussed. And when I send him that weekly email, what I like to do throughout the week is kind of keep tabs. Monday through Sunday, I keep a little thing in my Samsung Notes or whatever phone you use or however you do it, and I just kind of track any little notable thing from my day, whether it be something that I felt like influenced my stress levels or influenced how I performed in the gym that day or influenced my meal choices, anything out of the norm that I think is notable for my coach to know, and also some of those daily wins I achieved too. So I like to keep track of that on a day-to-day basis because at the end of the week when I send him that check-in, I'm really reflecting overall on what I've done, what I did great, what I could do better, and where we're gonna improve. So it's always been super helpful for me, and I found that to be very helpful for clients that I work with too, to really sit down and take that hard look at yourself after the week and think about where you can go from here. I would say that's the bulk of everything that I'm really focusing on right now and implementing. That may sound like a lot to some of you guys, it may sound overwhelming. For the most part, a lot of these things were already part of my normal lifestyle. I'm just being more precise with how I'm doing things, tracking them a bit closer, and finding ways that I can improve. So I'm feeling really good at this point about where things are at, and I'm excited to share with you guys how things go from here. That's my full plan and execution for this cut. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you don't miss any of my future updates, because what I'll be doing as this cut series goes along is updating you to any macro changes, weight changes. We'll be doing updated physique updates. I may even be doing some lab testing to share with you guys hormones. That was something you asked for, discussing more about hormones and how that influences things. So lots to come here on the channel. I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. And if you do, be sure to smash the like button, do all the things before you head on out of here, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for your support. I love you guys so much.
Episode 2. We're editing right now as we're shooting episode 3.
Episode deuce.
Episode deuce.